Hello. This morning I'm doing not long after I woke up actually. This morning I'm doing a review of three different coffees. What spread this is that I got coffee as a gift from my friend Ren, who lives in Philadelphia. He got me some Javatazza white chocolate macadamia nuts gourmet coffee, and as you can see, he drew a little me with my cats on it, and it smells uncannily like candies. Like it reminds me of Snickers or something when I smelled the chocolate. Um, and from what I can tell, speaking of the cats, here he is. And from what I can tell, it doesn't seem like they used any artificial flavorings, but I refuse to believe that they didn't because it smells like way too sweet and way too candy like. Uh, I'm really curious what they did. It says MSG free, which I hope so. GMO free, gluten free. I also hope so because there's no flour right in there. No artificial coloring. Fairly traded, shade grown, mountain grown, 100% Arabica coffee. I don't think it's all the same Arabica like single origin type thing, but it's probably all. Hey, don't drink my milk. I should never have done this. My cats are obsessed with milk, so anyway, I have this guy. That's the Javatazza white chocolate macadamia nuts cookie coffee. Then I have Javatazza. This is almost a terrible. Hey, Coast, what the hell, man? Next up, I have a Myriade roasting company coffee. This one's called Retro Espresso. It's Brazil, Colombia origin. It's a washed process. It's like a fermented coffee. Varieties: Topacio, Catura, Colombia coffee. It's supposed to taste like dark chocolate, fruits, nuts, dark brown sugar. It's from what I know, fermented coffees they tend to taste more like tropical fruits or like stone fruits. So we'll see. But it says fruit nuts, so maybe. Probably roasted in Montreal, as you can see, upside down, or more like the inverted. Myriade coffee. I have it in my trusty Darth Vader mug. And last and probably least, this one's the one that's the least interesting. It's just a dark roast. It's made from filter coffee, more or less. It's also from Montreal. It is from 49 Parallel. It's called the Organic Breakfast Roast. And it's supposed to taste like baker's chocolate, dried fig, pecan, and it's kind of like, I guess it's the most typical of the three coffees I have. When I brewed them all the same way. So I weighed how much ground coffee I was getting. I made sure they all had the same. I had used the same amount of water. I weighed the water. I used the same temperature water for all of them. I brewed them. The only thing is, like, when you use a mocha pot, there's a little bit of kind of it'll never be the same because of just the way the mocha pot works. So I tried my best to stop them at around the same time, to not burn the beans, to not burn anything. But for more or less, I have the same yield too. I weighed what came out, and they all have the same yield. So it should be as close as I could to having the same kind of process, which in a way is kind of a bad idea because like each bean kind of gets expressed differently. So some beans, hey, Coast, what the hell? You're not the star of the show. Beans get expressed differently. So some beans might require you to grind them finer, and some beans might require you to, some beans might require you to extract them for longer to get more of their character, and it depends on all of them. But for the purposes of this test, I ground them all the same fineness. I weighed all of them the same. I extracted them the same way using the mocha pot to the best of my abilities. While I was grinding them, I wrote down some notes of what they smelled like. So this one, like I said, the Javatazza one from Philadelphia, it smells like candy. It smells so sweet. It's actually putting me off. If I have a what's the word I'm looking for? If I have like a least one that I'm looking forward to the least, I guess it's the Philadelphia one, just because it tastes smells so sweet and kind of artificial that I'm worried. But if it ends up succeeding, I guess it'll be a great underdog story, kind of like Rocky. But who knows? I don't know. I don't like sweetness that much, so I wonder. For 49 Parallel, which is this one, I had when I smelled it, it smelled very sweet, not really roasty. So the sweetness probably doesn't come from having an intense roast. It didn't smell bitter at all. There's a slight acidity, which to me was reminiscent of black chocolate, like dark chocolate. It's fruity, kind of like there's this kind of black chocolate that I really like. It's called Tanzania. It's from I guess it's from Tanzania, and it's I don't know how to say it in English because I never looked it up. Tanzania, and it tastes like cherries. It's like black chocolate, dark chocolate that tastes like cherries, and it's doesn't really taste bitter. It tastes like acidic and stuff. And this is what this coffee reminded me like. And from Myriade, it smelled fruity and jammy, kind of like cooked fruits, which was very interesting. And it smelled a little bit chocolatey, but not as much as this guy. And then both of them smelled sweet, but neither of them smelled nearly as sweet as this. This reminds me of like Snickers or cookies or something like that. Like I can still smell it from here. It's actually very intense. So I'll go from the one I think is going to be the most boring to the one I think is going to be the wildest. So I'm going to try them without milk first, and then I'm going to try them with milk. I have my little pitcher of milk, which is why my cat is harassing me. As far as color goes, but all of them are pretty dark. They all look pretty oily, which is good. I like a little bit of oiliness in my coffee when it's like kind of syrupy a little bit. They're all warm, drinkable temperature. They're not boiling hot and they're not cold. I tried to make them as fast as I could. So let's go. I'm gonna smell them. So this one, it smells a lot more muted than its ground counterpart. It smells maybe under extracted, maybe, or watery, maybe. I don't know. It smells like mocha pot coffee. It's hard to explain, but oftentimes when I make my coffee, I make it go a bit too far, it kind of smells like this. But I've never tried of these, so I don't know the perfect grind setting, and I don't know the perfect in weight versus out weight and stuff like that. But I made them all the same just for the purpose of this. So let's see. 49 Parallel coffee with no milk. Whoa, it's pretty wild. This is acidic, like fruity. It's very light too. It's not thick that much. That you think it'd be thicker because of the oiliness, but the acidity reminds me of like berries more than citrus or things like that. It's sweet and acidic. There's a slight bitterness, but I don't get much bitterness at all. Honestly, it's mostly fruity berry like, maybe raspberry, maybe cherries a little bit. Um, I kind of taste a little bit of like nuttiness, but more like a cereally nuttiness, like oatmeal or like just like grains. It doesn't really taste like pecans, which just tells me um, I don't taste the fig. Nearly none. There's not enough sweetness for figs, but it does taste fruity and it does taste nutty, and of course they say it tastes like dark chocolate, which I kind of taste, but I find that coffees, like most kind of basic blends, kind of taste like dark chocolate. But it's very nice. I like it. This is like a very classic. I would drink this every day, not special occasion, not like wild. I'm feeling cool today. Coffee. I like it a lot. But well, a lot. I like it. I mean, maybe this is like the worst version of it I'll ever have. Maybe I'll perfect the recipe down the road. But this one, I like it. Now for Myriade coffee, the fermented coffee, washed process. I should mention also both of these are from Montreal. This one is the only one that's not from Montreal. This one, more oily, definitely oilier. Smells a bit more what you would expect coffee to smell like when you think of like basic coffee. It's more kind of roasty smell. It's more bitter. You can smell like the bitterness. I smell a lot of kind of fruitiness, but like cooked fruits, not like raw fruits. There's some sweetness to it, some kind of jammy complexity to the smell. Mm. Oh shit! I really like this one. This one's really light. It's like it's juicy. It's very like watery. The texture. Reminds me of almost like drinking tea. This is like it's oilier. It's kind of thicker in the mouth, and there's acidity to it, but it's very smooth. Like this one, it's a bit like oh, when you take a sip, it's like did I do this wrong? Like what does my coffee taste this way? This one is very smooth acidity. This is like it's like eating a fruit. Like there's a lingering acidity in the back, but it's not the first thing that hits you. First thing that hits me with this is it really tastes like it really tastes like jam. Obviously it's not as sweet as jam, but it definitely reminds me of jam. Like you don't have those the fruity freshness. So the smell of jam did indicate that this was gonna kind of taste like jam. Um, Now what kind of jam? Maybe like a marmalade, maybe like peach jam, or like or maybe marmalade. Um, it's it's very nice. This is my first time ever having fermented coffee, so I don't know how does it taste like fermented coffee or not. Because I tend to drink medium roast because I think that's what comes out best with mocha pots. I think mocha pots are pretty bad at expressing kind of lighter roast coffees. It's my first time having wash process coffee, and from what I read online, from what I've discussed with big coffee heads, people say that washed coffee, wash processed coffee tend to taste like tropical fruits or more like stone fruits or jams, and I can definitely get the jam quality. I don't really taste tropical fruit type things like papayas or pineapple or things like that. Maybe a slight tinge of like coconut, like it kind of reminds me of roasted coconut in a way when you take coconut flakes and you roast them and they taste more, they start getting sweeter and roastier and it kind of smells like that. I kind of get a little bit of that, but it's mostly like I get jamminess and I get a little bit of chocolatey kind of molasses, a little bit flavor. Maybe this tastes like fruit and the jammy part is like molasses because it's hard to. I mean, obviously, I've never really described coffee to people before. I've always drank it and be like, this is good and this is bad and I like the acidity of this one. And I only kind of describe coffee when I go out with friends and I drink coffee and they don't, and I try to explain it to them. I wish I had an espresso machine. I think that would be fun. I could really express the beans better than with a mocha pot. That's one of my goals is eventually get a mocha like a espresso machine, but it's very expensive and I don't know if I'm in the market for that right now. I don't even have that much space anyways. This one's really smooth. I really like this one. Now I don't remember how much I paid for these. But I'm pretty sure this one was the most expensive coffee of these three. Of course, this one's also a bigger quantity than this one. But like this one, I bought it in a nice cafe that kind of does. They kind of cooperate with local coffee roasters to sell their coffee. This one I bought at the grocery store, a high kind of an upscale grocery store, but still, uh, this one I paid $20 for, so it's kind of expensive, but it's nice. I really like it. I so far I'm not regretting the $20. Maybe the more I drink it, I'll get bored of it, or I'll think it sucks. But I don't know. For now, first impression is very positive. I like it more than this guy, but we'll see what milk. And it's also more aligned to my palate. I prefer a bit, fruity, complex tasting coffees. Like this one's very good. It's very good, like everyday coffee. Like if a restaurant served me this, I wouldn't mind. But if a cafe served me this, maybe maybe your coffee's a little bit boring. Now this one scares the hell out of me. Oh jeez, it should have smells like macadamia, white chocolate cookies, or like Snickers, or like nutty chocolate bars. It's pretty wild. Oh jeez. It's so weird. Like it tastes like coffee. Like it tastes like this guy. It tastes a bit sour. It tastes kind of roasty, chocolatey. It tastes kind of like conventional coffee, but then there's like this overwhelming back like back taste or like back flavor of Coach just jumped in the box of well, the smell. Like I can taste the smell of this, and it's like it's flavor that's added on top of the rest. Like it doesn't blend together uniformly as a whole. It's like two different coffees, or like two different drinks are fighting. And this one is very oily. I think maybe it's because of whatever they put to make it taste that way, but it's very oily. The oiliness is not like it. It doesn't, I guess, emulsify. Like it doesn't emulsify with the the drink as well as this one did. Like this one, like it's silky when you drink it, and it's smooth. This one, it's like you drink it and it's like you're drinking water, but there's like a layer of oil on top, and the oil tastes really sweet. So maybe this has artificial flavoring. I don't know, but at least from a like taste standpoint, I really like the candy like taste, the white chocolate nut taste. But it's weird that it feels so separate from the rest of what this coffee tastes like. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add milk to all of these, and we'll see how it changes. So I'm not gonna add much. I'm only gonna add a little bit so that they each have like just to round them out a little bit. I love the way milk interacts with coffee. So even though some people are like, oh, you're coffee purist, you put milk in your coffee. I mean, yeah, but I need calories. I'm on the verge of dying every day, and not just that, but I think coffee and milk is a wonderful combination. It's kind of like peanut butter and jelly, or peanut butter and pickles, or grilled cheese and tomato soup. So now with milk, let's see. With milk, it tones down the acidity. It kind of rounds out the flavors. It adds a little tiny bit of sweetness because obviously milk has natural sugars in it. And now I taste the figs. Like this says it's supposed to taste like figs. Now I taste the figs. It doesn't remind me of raspberries anymore. It doesn't have that like piney kind of like acidity that I would associate with raspberries. Now it's more like it tastes like a sweet fruit that has acidity in the back, like an apple or a fig. Maybe not sweet enough to be a fig, but it does have the honey like quality that is kind of reminiscent of figs. And I taste the chocolate nature of it even more. Um, I think this is really good with milk. I like it a lot. I might even go heavier on the milk because this coffee's pretty acidic. So I feel like it's meant to be drank, like it's meant to be had raw, just like black coffee. Um, because I don't know. For me, like adding milk to acidic things, it's a bit weird. Like it makes me think of spoiled milk. Now I know some coffees are acidic, and then when you add milk, it completely kills the acidity. It makes them very smooth. This one, even with milk, it's still acidic. So I think it's one of those things where I'm either I extracted it, maybe I under extracted it, but I don't think so because it's very oily, very dark. Maybe there were channels, I don't know. But it's not espresso, so I don't know. I don't know how to tune a mocha pot. Like I know how to tune an espresso machine. And but this one, even with milk, it's still acidic. So I think I'd rather drink this one without milk. Even though I think milk helps round it out, the weird acidity milk thing, like it's fine in yogurt, it's fine in creme fraiche or in cultured butter, but usually I'm not the biggest fan of like acidic milk things because it reminds me of spoiled milk. Um, so this one maybe if you if you drink this coffee and you're like it's so it's harsh, milk is gonna help for sure, but I think it works better on its own. This one I'm curious because this one I really liked and it was really sweet and it was very nice, well rounded without milk. So I wonder what milk is gonna do with it. I definitely get more of a nuttiness, but it reminds me of like maybe when you eat dates and you kind of bite into the date seed, it's like ugh, and it kind of tastes almost like soapy, a little bit bitter, um, but very nutty. That's what it reminds me of. Like the nuttiness now doesn't remind me of cereal anymore. It reminds me of like the seeds of fruits. Um, and instead of it tasting like cooked cooked fruits, um, kind of like jammy cooked fruits, now it reminds me more of like dried fruits. Like instead of eating, for example, apricot jam, now I'm eating like dried apricots. Um, there's more sweetness. It's a bit um, more like concentrated in flavor, and it's less sweet and kind of like cooked and more like raw but dried. If that makes any sense. I think this one with or without milk is very nice. It just kind of changes the character in a kind of completely. Um, but it's very interesting. Uh, I think so far this one maybe gets downgraded by milk. This one I think there's no change. I like it with or without milk. Now for this one's the one I'm most curious with milk because I think this one might be maybe they expect you to drink it with milk because it's so sweet and kind of candy like, and I think a lot of people who kind of would gravitate towards more sweet and candy like coffee might prefer their coffee with milk because milk adds sweetness to the coffee. It's already smelling much nicer actually. Uh, the smell of the warm milk kind of mixes really well with the smell of everything. I was kind of eating milk and cookies, I guess. I think this one gets vastly improved by milk, um, because it makes the kind of slight acidity, which I think may have been not on purpose. Maybe it's just me badly doing it, but it removes some of the acidity, and it really leans into the cookie character of this flavor, where it it makes it a bit more bitter, kind of like the burnt sugar parts of cookies, and it brings more. Oh, Mips is here now. Mips, and it brings out more of the cookie character. It tastes a bit more of the burnt sugar, and I'm gonna have to move Mips out of the way because she's blocking my shot. And just in general, it kind of it makes it taste more like diner type coffee, which I like. I love diner coffee. I would fucking destroy this with like pancakes or French toast or maybe even like steak and eggs or something. And but yeah, it brings out more of like a diner coffee aspect of it, but with the nice cookie aspect. I like it. I think with milk it's way better. It really reminds me of milk and cookies. And now there's something I wanted to do, but I don't know if it's a good idea or not. I kind of want to mix all of them together and drink. But before I do that, I will say beans wise, this one had the biggest beans. They were really big, kind of puffy. Maybe it's because they were cooked more, so the beans expanded more. This one had the smallest beans, which also makes sense because it's a wash process and they don't cook the beans. So as far as I know, like there's no kind of popcorn effect. And this one, the 49th parallel coffee, which maybe this is blocking, had kind of it had the most uniform beans, but it also had they were kind of medium color wise. These ones were the lightest, these ones were the darkest, and these ones were they were kind of in the middle. As far as oiliness goes, these ones are definitely the oiliest. Like on the surface, you could see like they had this sheen, and it's not as bad as like I think people call it French roast coffee, which is just when you burn the fuck out of your coffee beans and they turn super black and really oily. Um, this was not as oily as like French roast, but they were very oily, which is why I think maybe they added like a flavored oil to the surface, which is why it tastes the way it does and smells the way it does. But it doesn't say anywhere on the box that it does, so who knows? These ones weren't very oily at all. Like, of course, they had oil just because coffee beans have oil in them, but like they were kind of matte on the surface. It wasn't oily, and these ones were a bit. And also, they weren't cooked, so oil didn't really release. And these ones were significantly oily, but not to like an extent that I've never seen it before. Like they're medium roast. You can tell it's medium roast. The oils came out from the cooking process. And for other things that may affect the performance of the coffees, I don't know how old this is. I got it 4 days ago, 3 days ago. I can't remember. I got it on November 3rd, and today's November 8th, November 7th. I don't know what day we are. I'm kind of lost. This one I bought maybe 2 weeks ago, and this one I also bought 2 weeks ago. Now, this, even though I bought it 2 weeks ago, it was bagged 2 months ago, but that's fine because this entire thing with like degassing coffee and like this certain time period that we're like, if your coffee is too fresh, it actually won't taste as good. But if it's too old, it'll be stale, and there's like this middle ground. But I'm not gonna go into that because I'm not a coffee expert when it comes to the process of coffee. I just think I have a okay palate when it comes to tasting coffee. Now speaking of okay palate, I'm gonna mix everything. So I put the Philadelphia coffee into the Myriade coffee. So let's see. This tastes like oh my god, this is really good. I don't know what exactly happened, but it's more bitter. It's more kind of nutty and roasty. The chocolate character comes out more, and then there's like the sweetness from the Philadelphia coffee. It's very nice. It's very well rounded. I actually really like this blend. There's a lady outside. She's on her phone in her car, and she's going like crazy. Like she's tearing into whoever she's talking to on the phone. She's like she's holding her phone with one hand. She's like, man, this poor guy or girl on the other side of the phone. Or maybe she's just like one of those people who's very expressive, but I don't know. She looks kind of angry. It's Sunday. Well, it's not Sunday. Actually, it's Monday. Never mind. I was gonna say on Monday, Sunday. You can't be mad. It's the weekend. It's the Lord's Day. Blah 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 blah. But it's Monday, so I guess you can be mad because people don't have a day off. It's not Monday usually. So I mix every coffee together now. At this point, it kind of maybe it's because my palate's been like completely destroyed from um, I barely eat anything sweet, and I'm kind of, when things are too sweet, it kind of puts me off. Like I have a hard time eating pears, for example. Like pears are just, I'd rather eat an apple. Like it's more sour. But this this is not bitter at all. Like none of these coffees have been bitter in any way, and it makes me wonder why people think coffee's bitter. Because I've barely ever had actually bitter coffee unless it was burnt. Maybe that's why maybe people drink burnt coffee. But this mix of everything kind of tastes like hot chocolate. Like not sweet hot chocolate with the slight kind of lingering sweetness and kind of cookie nature of the Philadelphia coffee. All in all, this was not as bad as I kind of made it out in my head. I was expecting it to be not bad, but I was expecting to be like really overpoweringly sweet and candy like, and I was gonna drink like almost like syrup or whatever. I don't know. I was kind of scared of it. In the end, it's very normal tasting coffee with a nice cool aftertaste. Goes very well in milk. This one's very interesting. I like it a lot. This coffee has a lot of character. I wish I had an espresso machine to kind of better express the beans, especially because I think it's made for espresso. It's they call it retro espresso, so maybe that's what it is. Um, I kind of wish I had an espresso machine for that. And this one's very conventional. This is probably gonna be my daily coffee for a while when and this one I'm gonna drink maybe. I feel like if you drink this one and then this one, it might, this one might like your palate might be like affected because of the oils. So I think today was a good idea to drink this one last. I think I usually only drink 1 cup of coffee a day. This is gonna be 3 cups, so it's kind of gonna fuck me over. We'll see. But this coffee is probably gonna be my daily coffee for a while. When I'm done with this one, I'll probably drink this one. If I ever get guests who aren't big on coffee, I'll probably serve them this if ever they want coffee. This one I'm keeping for not a rainy day, but I'm gonna try to. This one I'm gonna mess around with more because I want to better express the beans because I really like it. I'll either mess with the grind size or I'll mess with my ratios and my things like that. Try to get different extraction and stuff like that. But obviously it's not the best. I need an espresso machine for that or like something like that. Now, there's another way to test coffee, which is you kind of coarsely grind it and you add boiling water, and then you let the grounds settle at the bottom and you slurp. That's how they test coffees for like that's how they come up with like those tags that say like, oh well, this tastes like a dark chocolate and it tastes like your mom's used underwear and things like that. That's how they come up with it. They do like those um, where they slurp really loud and they taste like coffee grounds with boiling water. They really want to like purely kind of test that way. I thought of doing that, but I thought it would be more boring than doing like kind of this multi-step process that I did. And not just that, but I'm not entirely sure what the coarseness should be, and it's also like I have a pretty good palate, but my palate's not that refined for coffee. I prefer talking about food than talking about coffee and drinks. But I love coffee, so I thought it would be interesting, and I hope it was interesting. So see you next time. This has been Beef. I've been testing coffee. Thank you very much, Ren, for the gift. I'm gonna drink the hell out of this, especially if I ever make myself a little breakfast burrito or something. I think this would go really well with food on its own. I'm not sold on it yet. Well, I am sold on it in the sense that I like it, but what I mean is like I'm trying to find its place in my coffee kind of routine. But yeah, I hope it was a pleasant watch. I hope me rambling about coffee was interesting, and I'm wondering what I'll do for a future video. I think one of my plans was to try like to order food on Uber Eats or something and then to review the restaurant, but I feel like that's kind of not representative enough of their actual quality because it comes and it kind of gets cold and stuff like that. So I'm not sure what I'm gonna do yet for my future videos. I kind of want them to be food related because food's a big part of my life, and I think I have interesting insights on food maybe. But for now, that's it. If you enjoyed the video, don't do anything because I don't care about YouTube.